Skool, hey! Inside school, learning begin the year.
Trying to keep up online these days. It's a lot. Building communities, businesses, just knowing what's next.
It really is. Feels like there's always a new strategy, a different model popping up.
Totally. And cutting through all that noise, finding what's actually, working, that's the hard part.
Absolutely. Which is exactly why we wanted to do this deep dive today. We're calling it Inside School because we've noticed this real buzz happening there.
Yeah.
Yeah, around the Skool platform. There's this specific approach people are talking about, trying out, and honestly, the claims about how well it works are pretty bold.
Okay, so this is the shortcut then. We've sifted through those discussions, the posts, what people in school are actually saying and doing.
That's the plan.
So our mission here is to unpack this thing they're calling the freemium school model.
Yeah.
What is it? Why are people saying it's so good, like crushing everything else is good?
And what does it actually mean for anyone trying to build something online? We need to look at what the sources are telling us.
Right. And I guess the big question bubbling up from all this is, why this model? Why are people saying it's potentially, better than just doing low-cost stuff or only aiming for those super expensive offers? What problem is it solving?
Come on inside, the supplies are here. Come on inside to Inside School.
Okay, yeah, let's get into that because before we define the freemium model itself, the sources we look at definitely spend time on the frustrations with those, let's call them, traditional models.
Makes sense. Like the low-ticket approach.
Exactly. Selling things for under, say, $100 guides, templates, mini courses, the sources are clear. The big hurdle is just scale.
Right. You need a ton of people buying to make real money.
A massive audience, it's all volume, and building that takes forever. A lot of work.
Okay. And then the opposite end, the high-ticket stuff, selling coaching for thousands or big services.
Yeah, the sources point to trust as the main issue there, especially when you're starting out.
Hard to get someone to drop serious cash if they don't really know you or haven't seen proof yet.
Precisely.
Yeah.
You haven't built up that credibility bank. So you're kind of caught, right? Need huge reach for cheap stuff. Need huge trust for expensive stuff.
So this freemium school model is framed as like a way out of that bind.
That seems to be the core idea from the sources. It's presented as a different way to start building both your audience and that trust kind of side by side.
Okay, so let's pin it down. Based on the sources, what is this model fundamentally?
At its heart, it's described really simply. Free community plus paid backend.
Free community, paid backend. Okay.
So you set up a valuable community space, free to join. Anyone can come in, get value, interact.
Got it, like the entry point.
Exactly. And the paid backend just means, well, the paid stuff you offer after they're already inside. Courses, coaching services, whatever, offered to members already in the free space.
And the buzz around it. People are saying it's simpler, easier, gets better results, even more fun.
Yeah, those words pop up a lot in the discussion. Simpler and easier, better results, more fun. And there are some pretty strong endorsements floating around.
Like what?
Well, one source highlights a quote from Sam Ovens, actually, from School News, calling it probably the best model for the most people.
Wow, okay. That's a big statement. Best model for most people.
It is, and it definitely helps explain why it's grabbing attention. Plus, there's this sense of opportunity the sources keep mentioning.
Opportunity how?
It's not, like, everywhere yet. It's gaining steam, but it hasn't totally saturated the online world. So the sources suggest there's this potential first mover advantage right now.
Get in before it becomes the standard way everyone does it.
Kind of, yeah. The window might be now, is the implication.
Okay, so let's dig into a really key part of this, something the sources emphasize that feels maybe a bit different, keeping free and paid members together in the same group.
Right, that's a big one because, the old way.
Yeah, the old way was always free people here, pay up, then you move to the secret, separate paid group.
Exactly. And the sources really break down why that often killed the free groups vibe.
How so?
Well, think about it. Your most engaged people, the ones getting results, the ones driving conversations, they upgrade and poof, they vanish from the free space.
So all the energy and the success stories leave the free group.
Precisely. And the free group engagement just tanks because the stars are gone.
Okay, so the freemium school way flips that. Keep everyone mingling.
That's the idea. Create the synergy. Paid members are visible, they're participating, maybe sharing wins.
So they become like living proof, social proof.
Totally. They're basically organic testimonials. Free members see them. They see the paid course listed in the classroom or the paid group calls on the calendar.
And it makes them curious. It shows them the path.
Exactly. It's like a natural built-in upsell mechanism just by having successful people visible and the options clear.
That makes sense. And there was a stat about conversion rates mentioned.
Yeah, an interesting one. The sources quote something like a 20% conversion rate for joining free groups versus maybe 4% for joining paid-only groups.
Okay, wait. So that's not conversion to buying something, but just getting people into the group in the first place.
Correct. The point being made is remove that initial price barrier, make it free to just enter the community, and way more people walk in the door. You build that audience base much, much faster.
Gotcha. More eyeballs, more potential upgrades later.
That's the logic, but it's important to get the nuance here.
Okay.
The sources do say this one group model is best for most people that are small. You know, typical creators, small businesses.
But not for everyone.
Not necessarily. They acknowledge that if you get huge, like 100,000 free members, huge, then maybe managing one space gets crazy and separating does make sense then.
Right. For logistical reasons at massive scale.
Yeah. But for most folks starting out or growing, the sources really lean into this one group approach for flexibility and keeping that free side alive and valuable.
Okay, that clarifies things. So you've got the free group buzzing free and paid folks together.
Yeah.
What about the actual paid stuff? What are people typically selling on the back end?
The sources tend to cluster the paid offers into 4 main types.
Okay, let's break those down.
First up is DIT yourself, DIY. Pretty straightforward, basically. Unlock a course, people learn on their own time.
Standard course model. Got it.
Second, done with you and others, DWYO. This adds group support. So you get the course, plus maybe weekly group calls, Q&As, that kind of thing.
Like a group coaching program built around a course.
Exactly. Third is done with you, DWY. This is more personal. Usually means one-on-one coaching.
Okay, direct help.
And fourth, done for you, DFY. Here, you, the creator, actually do the work for the member, build their website, run their ads, write their copy. A service, basically.
DIY, DWYO, DWI, DFY. Okay. And the sources talk about trade-offs.
Definitely. Scalability versus how easy it is to sell. That's the key tension.
Let me guess. DIY and DWYO, the course and group stuff, are more scalable.
They know. You can serve lots of people with the same course or group call, but maybe harder to sell up front because the buyer still has to put in the work.
Right. And the other two, one-on-one and done for you.
Much less scalable, obviously. Your time is the bottleneck. You can only coach so many people one-on-one or do so many service projects.
But easier to sell.
Often. Yes, according to the sources, especially for beginners trying to make their first income. It's usually simpler to sell a direct solution, I'll guide you personally, or I'll build it for you, because the value is super clear.
That makes a lot of sense. Solve a direct pain point.
Exactly. So the path suggested for newbies in the sources is kind of interesting.
Yeah. What's the advice?
Start with the easier sells,
Yeah.
even if they're less scalable, like offer one-on-one coaching or a DFY service first.
Get some runs on the board, build confidence, get testimonials.
Precisely. Make your first few $1,000s that way. Then, once your time gets maxed out because people want your help.
Then you package it up into a course or group program.
That's the transition strategy highlighted. Move towards more scalable delivery once you've proven the value and demand is there.
Smart. And there was a case study mentioned, Aidan Labreche.
Yeah, he was cited as making, I think it was $50 K in about 2 weeks with a new offer using this model.
Wow.
And the interesting bit the source mentioned was that initially, he was actually delivering that offer inside the main free group space.
Really? Before setting up something separate?
Apparently so.
Yeah.
Shows the flexibility. Start simple, deliver value right there, and then adapt the structure as you scale up client delivery.
Okay. Framework makes sense. Free community, tiered back-end offers. But you still need people in the free community. How do the sources say people are getting traffic?
Well, one method highlighted is pretty unique to Skool itself. Skool Discovery.
The platform's internal search or marketplace?
Exactly. And the stat shared was pretty eye-opening. Apparently, 22% of all memberships across Skool come from these internal sources like Discovery.
22%. Just from people browsing on Skool.
That's what the sources claim. They use Synthesizer as an example, saying it gets over 2,000 members a month just from Discovery.
Wow. Passively.
Yeah, described as needing 0 of our time. Basically, build a good group people want to join, get listed in Discovery, and the platform itself sends you members. Pretty powerful.
Definitely. What else besides Discovery?
For those wanting faster or more proactive growth, the other two pillars mentioned are, well, the classics, networking and content creation.
Okay. But is there a specific angle on those within this model?
The advice highlighted is refreshingly simple. No complex funnels needed, apparently.
Oh.
It boils down to, and this is almost a direct quote from one source, show up, give more than you take, help a specific person solve a specific problem.
Huh. So just be genuinely helpful and visible in the right places.
Seems to be the core message. Focus on real interactions, provide value, solve problems. The audience comes from that authentic connection, not from some fancy hack.
That focus on real value connects to something else, right? Making this model actually work. Because people might be skeptical about free communities.
Yeah, the sources tackle that head on. The common criticism, oh, free communities, people aren't committed.
Right. Low barrier to entry means low commitment.
And the sources push back strongly. There's a great quote. People are way less committed in shit-free communities.
Huh. Okay, so it's not about free versus paid. It's about good versus bad.
Precisely. The success hinges entirely on the quality of that free experience. If your free group is genuinely valuable, engaging, supportive, people will be committed.
Makes sense. Value drives engagement, not the price tag.
So the sources really stress, this isn't automatic. You can't just set up a free group, slap a course link in there, and expect cash.
It takes work.
Yeah, there's real process.
Yep.
Making the group good, figuring out the right paid offer, actually delivering results for people, doing it all without burning out. It requires effort, showing up, caring.
And from the examples and comments, it sounds like the creator's own activity and genuine engagement are key.
Absolutely. Being present, helping members, fostering that positive culture, that seems crucial for making the free side thrive, which then fuels the whole model.
So, thinking about this model not just for today, but looking ahead, how do the sources see this fitting into the future? Where might things be going?
Well, one concrete thing they touch on is potential platform updates, specifically recurring payments for courses within Skool.
Ah, like subscriptions for course access?
Seems like it. The sources mentioned it's not expected before maybe August, but they point out how that feature could make managing those different paid tiers, course access, maybe group program access, even easier inside that single community.
Smoother integration, okay?
Yeah. And there's also a broader, maybe more subtle point in the discussion.
What's that?
It's sort of positioning this model against maybe other focuses, like getting caught up in platform gamification, leaderboard, school games metrics, versus the core goals of sustainable income, real impact, deep community.
So this freemium model feels more aligned with the impact and income side.
That's the sense you get. It's presented as a structure fundamentally built around delivering value and building a sustainable business through community, rather than just chasing vanity metrics.
Interesting distinction.
And finally, there's a dose of realism. The sources are bullish on the opportunity now, but they also acknowledge that, like any hot model.
It might get saturated eventually.
Yeah. As more people adopt it, the landscape might shift, and new approaches might be needed down the line. But the message is clear. Right now, this is seen as a major opportunity.
Okay, so stepping back from all the details we've explored inside Skool, this freemium school model really comes through in the sources as this potentially powerful blend.
Yeah, it's about building that really good, engaging free community first. That's the bedrock.
And then layering on those smart paid offers, maybe DIY, maybe group, maybe one-on-one, potentially all happening in that one interactive space.
Exactly. And why should you, listening, care about this? Well, the sources present it as a framework that tackles some big online business challenges head on.
Like the scale issue with low ticket and the trust issue with high ticket.
Right. It aims to build both audience and trust simultaneously. It leverages platform features like discovery. It focuses on delivering real value, both free and paid.
It really offers a different kind of blueprint, doesn't it?
Right.
Blending that free value, that community connection, with a clear path to sustainable business.
It does. And thinking about how fast things change online. Platform features evolve, models come and go.
Yeah.
If this idea of blending free community value with integrated paid solutions is a big part of the future, getting good at this kind of model now while it potentially has that first mover energy,
Yeah.
how could that set you up for connecting with people and building something meaningful for the long haul?
That makes you think. Right.
Inside